Peace. Apparently it's beginning, on the way. I was about to say on the way, but I guess we don't know yet. As we speak, Americans, Russians, they're meeting in Saudi Arabia. I bet that's hot and miserable, to discuss the peace process, finally ending this butchery in Ukraine. Let's see how this is going to go. Joining me now, Lee Smith, author of the book, Disappearing the President. To be frank, you should really read everything Lee Smith writes. Every time he puts out a column, you should be reading it. Joining me now is Lee. Lee, okay, peace process. First, why isn't Zelenskyy there? How's this work? You're the one with all the experience with all this crap. How's this work?
Well, I think one of the important things is to figure out what the U.S.-Russia, what U.S.-Russia agreements will look like. I mean, you can't have everyone sitting at the table at the same time, because that will lead to chaos. And we've seen what that looks like with the Middle East peace process, where you have everyone sitting at the same table, and by the end, they're all throwing Jello at each other, or worse. So I think this is probably a pretty good way to start. Figure out, Donald Trump has been. I don't think he's been speaking all the time with Putin and Zelenskyy, but he's certainly been signaling through Truth Social and other comments he's made. So I think this is a good way to start.
Okay, let's flip to the other side. Let's assume that they're going to start this. They're beginning in Saudi Arabia to work something out. Zelenskyy's all over Meet the Press saying things like this.
Have you been given any assurances that Ukraine will have an equal seat at the negotiating table?
So I will never accept any decisions between the United States and Russia about Ukraine. Never. And our people, never. And our adults and children and everybody. It can't be so. This is the war in Ukraine against us, and it's our human losses. And we are thankful for all the support, unity between USA, in USA, around Ukraine support, bipartisan unity, bipartisan support. We're thankful for all of this, but there is no any leader in the world who can really make a deal with Putin without us, about us.
Okay, let's set aside all that stuff or whatever feelings anybody has. How much leverage does he have, Lee? Because that's what we're in now. We're in the leverage game because we're in the negotiation game. What leverage does he have?
Zero. And that's why we see comments like this, because, Zelensky's speaking to a number of different audiences here. There are some people at home in Ukraine who are watching. He's also speaking to the Europeans as well as the Americans, but he knows that it's really the United States, Donald Trump, that's going to carry the ball for him on this. But he has to present himself as a strong leader. I mean, it's as you say, Jesse, I totally agree. Regardless of how we feel about American money has been spent, and I think we're justifiably quite angry about this, that it's been used for a lot of death. We also have to keep in mind, I think, the tremendous loss Ukrainians have taken here, and they have nothing to do with what Zelenskyy and many of his corrupt ministers have been up to. So it's a horrible situation, and thankfully Donald Trump has seen through all of the noise on all sides, and that's why he's keen, I think, to bring peace to the middle of Europe.
Speaking of corruption in the government, Lindsey Graham had an eye-opening thing to say. Here's what he said.
You and your people, you're the ally I've been hoping for all my life. Not one American has died defending Ukraine. You've taken our weapons and you've kicked their ass, and I'm very proud to have you as our ally.
What does Lindsey Graham get out of all this, Lee? I don't think Lindsey Graham goes at home at night and wraps himself in a Ukrainian blankie and watches Thunder from Down Under. He doesn't care about Ukraine. He gets something from this. What is it?
I mean, it's a terrible way to speak. It's a terrible way to speak to people. Talk about, all of you have died. You used our weapons. We haven't had to do anything. It's really very sad that Graham should be so. I don't know how we put it, tactless or clueless at this point. And again, he's speaking to many different audiences as well, and he seems not to understand that a lot of people are listening to this and they're just shaking their heads how someone can speak like this.
Lee, let's shift gears a little bit and go to Gaza, because as I've told people, Trump intends to do very big things with his 4 years. He's not joking about Greenland. He's not joking about the Panama Canal. Yeah. He intends to write his name on the history books. And he said something about taking control of Gaza. Except for the people in Gaza, that land means something to them. As wrong-headed as they may be about some things, the land means something. They're not looking for a condo and a well-paying job as a valet at the newest Ritz. The land means something. How does this work? How does this look?
Well, also they weren't looking to stay in Gaza, because remember that this has been the Palestinian cause for for about 80 years, to get rid of the Israelis. So while they may not have any yes, they don't have any special attachment to Gaza. In fact, I mean, a lot of people are living there, but I mean, remember, a lot of these people are living in so-called refugee camps. And what does that mean? Is that they were never planning to stay on Gaza in the first place. Had they won their multiple wars, or any of their wars against Israel, they all would have moved into Israel proper and knocked the Jews into the sea, as they've been threatening for years and years now. I think that Donald Trump's initiative here it's historic. I think that the Israelis right now are having a hard time wrapping their head around it, and part of that is because of the hostage situation. Part of that is because they're still fighting. But I think that Donald Trump's again, the idea of taking this away not only from the Palestinians, but taking it away from the Israelis, and who knows the purpose it will serve for American interest. Will it be part of a sovereign? Will this make money for the sovereign wealth fund that the president and Treasury Department intend to set up? Is it going to be effectively a fort? I mean, again, the Eastern Mediterranean is vital for U.S. interests. Is this part of what Donald Trump is thinking? I don't know right now, but I think, again, it's an important and historic initiative, not only for the Middle East, but very important for U.S. interests too. People were shocked by it, and I certainly was surprised, but I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, that's fingers crossed. Let's see where she goes. Lee, come back soon, my brother. I appreciate you as always. I would thank you for coming to my YouTube channel, but I know how brilliant it is, and I know you love it here. So subscribe and watch. We're going to start really ramping things up and putting some funny stuff, some interesting stuff out there, some collaborations. Either way, my YouTube channel is officially the place to be. So stick around.